When I talk about writing your vision, I want to kind of give you a little different perspective. I talked a couple of days ago about how to plan anything, and I mentioned all the different types of plans that you could write. And I think that could make you believe that writing your vision is only about writing a complex, long form plan. And I had something happen to me the other day that I was thinking about, and it made me want to just kind of come on and give you this clarification about that. So one of the cases for writing your vision that I want to make is that writing anything about your vision it counts as writing your vision. So I often say that notes, if you just jot something down in a journal, on a Post-it, in a planner, on your phone, if you just jot some little thought down, that writing serves as a prophecy for you. Because when you inevitably find it again, years later, months later, days later, you will have likely forgotten all about it. This is one of the reasons writing is so important. And so I had a situation, when was it? I was in a class in February or March. What was it? February. I was in a class in February with my new church. And it was about our destiny, helping us to find our destinies. There was a Destiny Finder assessment, I loved. And we got to the part about spiritual gifts. And there was a session at the end where we had an opportunity, or anyone in the room had an opportunity to operate in the spiritual gifts that they had just learned about through this assessment. And there were, how many? 1, 2, 3, I think there were 4. Yeah, there were 4 prophecies given to me in that room. 3 of them were related to each other. And I found out later that among this particular group of people who've been with each other for a long time, that it was common for prophecies that they got in a session of any kind of a meeting or gathering. It was very common for them to have these related words. And so the reason I want to make the case for writing your vision in all its forms is that I have learned over the years, I'm kind of OCD about it. If anybody even pretends like they are about to give me a word that they believe, God is giving them for me, I'm pulling out my phone. I'm trying to record that thing. I'm definitely in the moment, but I am much more concerned about making sure that it's recorded. I'm even known to record prophecies that other people are receiving in the room, even if I don't even know them, because I know how important those recordings have been to me. And what I've learned over and over, it's very similar to just your thoughts and ideas. When you receive a message like that from someone, even when you're completely coherent, you're not necessarily overcome with emotion or feel this overwhelming presence of God, that you are just literally standing there listening intently at what someone is saying to you, you will not remember what they said. You cannot. There's no way you can walk away and remember every single thing they said. And then the proof of that for me is I knew that I had recorded those messages, those prophecies from that particular class back in February. And here it is, August. And I had never listened to them back. I do remember what I felt like when I heard, like it was like one after another. And when I heard one, I was about to explode by the time I got to the third one, because I was like, oh my God, like it was evident. These people had no idea. They were new to me. They had no idea what was going on in my life. And the fact that all three of those things were so connected, it was just, I was losing my mind. But I was losing my mind to the point where when I listen back now, I remember most of what they were saying, I didn't remember at all. So even writing your vision is about capturing ideas, moments, revelations. That's the foundation of writing your vision, because that's the information that you are going to use to actually define your ideas so that you can communicate them effectively to other people. So because I had that recording, I was able to transcribe every single one of those prophecies, which the reason I went back and listened to them again, looked for them again, was because I was in another meeting at my church, and someone, at the end of a service, just, hugged me and said, thank you. They were talking about my poetry that I'd performed at the event on Saturday. And then they just started sharing with me just some insights from God. And I tell you, I grabbed that phone, right? And when I came home, it reminded me of the words that I'd gotten in February. So I thought, okay, let me compare all of these messages from 4 completely different people, given at 3 at the same time and 1 months later. And when I went through them all, I was amazed at what's going on in my life now, what's going on in my mind, what's going on in my concept of what I believe God is calling me to do at this time in my life, at this season. So when you talk about writing your vision, I'm like, oh my God, those prophecies. And so this is not just about prophecy, but it is also about ideas. So one of the prophecies in February related to like a major breakthrough that I had probably within the last 30 to 90 days or 30 to 60 days. A huge breakthrough regarding some books that I'm writing. And really this list, I have a long list of titles that I'm working on. And I had no idea, in my mind, I had no idea before those 60 days about those books. There was one title, maybe 2, that I had on the back burner. And one of the prophecies in February spoke to lots of books. I didn't hear it. And so I believe that too, until you are in a position where you can understand more fully the next step that you need to take, or until you reach a certain milestone, a certain level of revelation about what it is you're supposed to do and who you are, and the vision that God has placed before you. Until you reach a certain level, you don't need some of that information, but you do need to have it documented. So even if you don't have words and prophecies like that, you do have ideas. You do have information that has sparked your curiosity. You have writings, you have stories, you have pictures that have inspired you. You need to be keeping that almost like a scrapbook. And that's kind of how I designed the flip book and how I use my own. I keep track of my time, what I accomplished, just even what I did, even if I didn't accomplish anything. I'm tracking my time. I am tracking not only what I have to do and what I've, successes or things I've completed. I'm tracking my ideas. And then I am filing it. I am organizing the information. I am keeping track of it. I am stewarding the ideas, the information, the progress, the emotions. I'm stewarding all of that because I am going to be held accountable for this vision in my heart. And so my actions need to line up. And let me tell you, I'm also a nonprofit founder. I have a nonprofit called the V.I.V.I.D Academy. V.I.V.I.D Academy is about helping to create wealth, and it's an entrepreneurial support organization especially for social entrepreneurs that want to have an impact with their businesses, right? To create wealth, to have impact. Well, I say that we are teaching the art, science, and psychology of entrepreneurship. And heavy emphasis on psychology, because the biggest problem with the entrepreneur, and you are an entrepreneur if you have a ministry, if you have a nonprofit, if you have an organization that you're leading, if you have a business of any kind, you are an entrepreneur because you are undertaking something. You're building something. So if you are a builder, your biggest problem is on the inside of you. It is your insecurities. It is your limitations, your perceived especially. It's the roadblocks that you encounter. It's your daily habits. Those are the things that keep you from that vision. Those are the things that will not allow you to close the wisdom gap, because you are, what some people say, it's so in your head. You're so in your head and your emotions, and you're not aware of what you're operating out of at any given time. And I'm telling you, you taking the time and energy to, like I said, just be a steward over what you have been given. And you are being given insight, ideas, inspiration. You have got to keep track of all of that, because what that does is that impacts your psychosis, your psychological and emotional condition. And you taking responsibility, holding on to that. We talked about violence, taking it by force, taking it seriously, showing up, engaging yourself, entering yourself into your own internal training. That's all part of writing the vision.